Hello everyone. Being overly accommodating may seem noble on the surface, a way to foster harmony and avoid conflict. However, beneath this facade lies a subtle but profound danger: the gradual erosion of one's identity, values, and ability to contribute meaningfully to the world. The impulse to please everyone is often born from a desire to be liked, respected, or seen as virtuous. But the cost of perpetual acquiescence is far greater than the fleeting approval it earns. When we allow ourselves to say yes to every request or demand, we unwittingly diminish the power of our own voice. Each time we prioritize someone else's desires over our principles or well-being, we lose a fragment of who we are. The tragedy is not just personal, but societal. The world needs people of conviction, individuals who stand firm on what is right and true, even when doing so invites disapproval. Eventually the day arrives when the invidious forces destroy the world or widespread destruction. Over-accommodation, however, breeds a culture of passivity, where integrity is sacrificed for the sake of avoiding discomfort. This tendency to over-acclimate often stems from a fear of rejection or conflict. The thought of disappointing others can be so unbearable that we trade our own needs and beliefs for a fragile sense of peace. Yet this peace is not genuine. It is merely the absence of visible discord. Underneath, resentment and frustration build, both in ourselves and in those who take advantage of our pliability. Relationships based on such dynamics are inherently unbalanced and often unsustainable. True connection requires mutual respect, and respect is earned, not through endless capitulation, but through authentic engagement, even when it means disagreeing or setting firm boundaries. Moreover, being overly accommodating undermines our ability to lead effectively. Leadership demands decisiveness, clarity, and the courage to make choices that will not please everyone. When we bend too easily to the preferences of others, we lose the capacity to chart a clear course. Instead, we become reactive, pulled in countless directions by competing demands. This not only hampers our effectiveness, but also diminishes the trust others place in us. People instinctively look to those who are unwavering in their convictions, not those who change their stance to fit the situation. Over-accommodation also weakens our sense of purpose. Life is not meant to be lived as a series of reactions to external pressures. We are called to pursue goals, uphold values, and contribute uniquely to the world. By constantly yielding to others, we risk losing sight of these higher aims. We become so consumed by the need to meet immediate expectations that we neglect the long-term vision for our lives. To resist the pull of over-accommodation requires courage. The courage to face discomfort, to endure criticism, and to stand alone when necessary. It is not an easy path, but it is a necessary one. For only by standing firm can we truly serve others, offering not a hollow compliance, but the strength of our convictions. In doing so, we inspire respect, foster genuine connection, and preserve the integrity of our own souls. Boundaries are the framework within which strength is cultivated and expressed. They are not walls of isolation, but intentional markers that define where we end and others begin. To live without boundaries is to invite chaos into one's life, allowing others to dictate the terms of your time, energy, and values. True strength lies in understanding that boundaries are essential, not only for protecting yourself, but also for nurturing healthy relationships and achieving your purpose. When we establish boundaries, we send a clear message. We value ourselves and our time. This is not selfishness, but self-respect. A person who lacks boundaries often feels overextended, drained, and resentful because they are constantly prioritizing the needs of others over their own. The irony is that without boundaries, even the most generous acts can lose their meaning, as they are performed out of obligation rather than genuine care. By contrast, setting boundaries allows us to give freely, from a place of strength and clarity rather than depletion. Boundaries also protect the core of who we are, our values, beliefs, and identity. In a world that constantly demands compromise, those without boundaries find themselves swept away by the tides of external pressures. They agree to things they do not believe in, say yes when they mean no, and allow their lives to be shaped by the expectations of others. This is not kindness or flexibility. It is a slow erosion of one's sense of self. Strength comes from the ability to say, "This is where I stand, and I will not waver." It is this resolve that enables individuals to live authentically and remain true to their principles. Boundaries are not only about saying no, but also about deciding where your yes will go. They create space for focus, growth, and purpose. Without boundaries, life becomes a series of distractions, pulling you away from what truly matters. When you establish limits, you reclaim control of your time and energy, directing them toward pursuits that align with your goals and values. This is where strength thrives, in the intentional use of your resources to build a life that reflects your highest aspirations. Exceptional leaders. In relationships, boundaries foster respect and mutual understanding. They teach others how to treat you and create a foundation for healthy interaction. A lack of boundaries often leads to imbalance, where one person dominates and the other sacrifices endlessly. This dynamic breeds resentment and weakens the connection. Strong relationships are built when both parties understand and honor each other's limits, creating an environment of trust and equality. Living with boundaries requires courage. It means risking disapproval, facing conflict, and standing firm when others push against the limits you have set. Yet, this courage is the essence of strength. Boundaries are not barriers to connection, but pathways to genuine engagement, where you can give and receive without losing yourself. They empower you to live authentically, protect what matters most, and build a life rooted in purpose and respect. Tough love is one of the greatest expressions of genuine care and responsibility, though it is often misunderstood. It is not about being harsh for the sake of it, nor is it about asserting control over others. Rather, tough love is the courage to hold someone accountable, even when it may strain the relationship in the short term. It is a form of love that prioritizes long-term growth and well-being over momentary comfort or approval. To exercise tough love is to understand that true compassion sometimes requires confrontation, firmness, and the willingness to risk being misunderstood. When we choose tough love, we are making a commitment to the truth. This can be uncomfortable because the truth often exposes areas where change is needed, whether in behavior, mindset, or choices. It is tempting to avoid these hard conversations for fear of creating conflict or hurting someone's feelings. Yet, avoiding the truth does not spare anyone pain. It simply delays it, often making the eventual consequences more severe. Tough love, on the other hand, addresses problems head-on, offering the opportunity for growth and change before the situation deteriorates further. A key element of tough love is accountability. When we care for someone, we want the best for them, which sometimes means holding them to higher standards. This might involve challenging destructive behaviors, setting firm boundaries, or insisting that they take responsibility for their actions. While this may be difficult in the moment, it is an investment in their growth. Tough love says, "I see your potential, and I will not allow you to settle for less than you are capable of." It requires wisdom to discern when to step in and strength to follow through, even when it is not well received initially. Tough love is also rooted in respect. Respect for the other person's ability to grow and overcome challenges. It recognizes that shielding someone from consequences or constantly rescuing them can rob them of the chance to learn and develop resilience. Growth often comes through struggle, and tough love allows people to face difficulties while offering support and guidance. It is not about abandoning someone to their problems, but empowering them to take ownership of their journey. This principle applies not only in personal relationships, but also in leadership, parenting, and mentorship. A leader who practices tough love challenges their team to reach higher, even when it is uncomfortable. A parent who employs tough love disciplines with the intention of teaching rather than merely punishing. A mentor practicing tough love pushes their mentee to confront their fears and limitations, knowing that doing so will unlock their potential. Tough love is not easy. It requires a delicate balance of firmness and empathy, truth and compassion. Yet, it is one of the most profound expressions of love because it prioritizes what is truly best for the other person. By embracing tough love, we become agents of growth, helping others rise to their potential while fostering deeper, more meaningful connections rooted in respect and trust. The fear of conflict is a natural human response, stemming from our desire for harmony and acceptance. However, avoiding conflict at all costs often leads to more harm than good. Resisting this fear is not about seeking confrontation, but about recognizing that conflict, when handled wisely, can be a catalyst for growth, clarity, and stronger relationships. It requires courage to step into uncomfortable spaces, but that courage is often the foundation for meaningful change and deeper understanding. Fear of conflict often arises from the belief that disagreement will result in rejection, hostility, or irreparable damage to relationships. This fear pushes many to avoid difficult conversations, suppress their opinions, or yield to others, even when it goes against their values or needs. Yet this avoidance only creates a facade of peace. Beneath the surface, unresolved issues fester, eroding trust, authenticity, and connection. Betrayal is the essence of relationships before we are connected with the truth of a nature. True harmony cannot exist without honesty, and honesty often demands a willingness to engage with conflict. Resisting the fear of conflict begins with a shift in perspective. Conflict does not have to be destructive. It can be constructive when approached with respect and a focus on resolution. It is not about winning or proving someone wrong, but about seeking mutual understanding and addressing underlying issues. By viewing conflict as an opportunity rather than a threat, we can approach it with an open mind and a willingness to listen, creating space for dialogue and reconciliation. Engaging in conflict requires us to confront our own vulnerabilities. It forces us to examine our beliefs, assumptions, and emotions, often revealing areas where we need to grow. This introspection is uncomfortable, but it is also transformative. It builds self-awareness and resilience, equipping us to handle future challenges with greater confidence and grace. Each time we face conflict head-on, we strengthen our ability to navigate life's complexities, fostering both personal and relational growth. In relationships, avoiding conflict often leads to resentment and disconnection. When we fail to express our needs, set boundaries, or address grievances, we deprive others of the opportunity to understand us fully. Over time, this lack of transparency can create distance, even in the closest bonds. On the other hand, engaging in honest albeit difficult conversations demonstrates respect for both ourselves and the other person. It says, "I value this relationship enough to work through the hard things." Resisting the fear of conflict does not mean approaching it recklessly. It requires preparation, thoughtfulness, and a commitment to constructive communication. Choosing the right time, framing issues with empathy, and focusing on solutions rather than blame can transform conflict from a divisive force into a unifying one. The courage to face conflict is a vital part of living authentically. It allows us to stand firm in our values, deepen our relationships, and contribute to a culture of honesty and respect. By resisting the fear of conflict, we move closer to a life marked by integrity, growth, and meaningful connection. A life in which we are not bound by fear, but liberated by truth. Integrity is the foundation of a life lived with purpose and authenticity. It is the unwavering commitment to align actions with principles, even in the face of challenges, temptations, or opposition. Protecting your integrity is not merely about maintaining a good reputation. It is about safeguarding the essence of who you are. It requires vigilance, courage, and the determination to remain true to your values, regardless of external pressures or circumstances. Integrity is tested most in moments of adversity. When faced with difficult choices, it can be tempting to compromise for convenience, gain, or acceptance. Yet, every compromise chips away at the core of your character. What begins as a small concession can evolve into a pattern of behavior that distances you from your true self. Protecting your integrity means standing firm in your principles, even when it costs you something. Even when it costs you something, that is the most interesting part of character. What begins as a small concession is the most interesting part of character. The cost of maintaining integrity, though high at times, is far less than the price of losing it. At its heart, integrity is about consistency. It is the alignment of your thoughts, words, and actions across all areas of your life. To protect your integrity, you must cultivate self-awareness and examine whether your decisions reflect your deepest values. This requires honesty with yourself, a willingness to confront where you may have fallen short, and a commitment to correcting course. Integrity is not perfection. It is the ongoing pursuit of living in alignment with what you know to be right and just. One of the greatest threats to integrity is external influence. In a world that often prioritizes success, image, and expediency, it is easy to feel pressure to conform or compromise. However, true strength lies in resisting these pressures and remaining steadfast in your convictions. Protecting your integrity means having the courage to say no to what violates your values, even if it isolates you or puts you at odds with the crowd. It is a declaration that you value your principles more than fleeting gains or the approval of others. Integrity is also about trustworthiness. People of integrity inspire confidence because their words can be relied upon and their actions are consistent with their promises. This trust is a precious commodity, built over time but easily destroyed by dishonesty or hypocrisy. To protect your integrity is to honor your commitments, admit your mistakes, and take responsibility for your actions. In doing so, you build a legacy of reliability and respect that cannot be easily shaken. Protecting your integrity requires vigilance in the small things as much as in the significant decisions. It is in the daily choices, how you treat others, how you conduct yourself when no one is watching, and how you respond to temptation, that your integrity is both tested and strengthened. By valuing integrity above all else, you create a life rooted in authenticity and respect. It is not always the easiest path, but it is the one that leads to true peace, fulfillment, and lasting impact. Strength is often perceived as the ability to exert force, dominate challenges, or endure hardships, but true strength lies in balance. It is not merely about pushing forward at all costs, but about understanding when to act and when to pause, when to hold on and when to let go. Strength through balance is a harmonious blend of resilience and adaptability, discipline and flexibility, effort and rest. It is the realization that strength is not static but dynamic, requiring constant calibration to navigate life's complexities with grace and wisdom. Balance begins with self-awareness. To be truly strong, one must understand their limits, motivations, and priorities. Strength without balance often leads to burnout, frustration, and unintended consequences. For instance, relentless ambition without moments of reflection can result in success that feels hollow, while overextending oneself in the name of helping others can lead to personal neglect. True balance requires a clear understanding of what truly matters and the discipline to align actions with those values, ensuring that strength is applied where it is most meaningful. Equally important is the ability to adapt. Life is unpredictable, filled with unexpected twists and turns that require us to adjust our approach. A rigid mindset may appear strong on the surface, but it often crumbles under pressure. Balance, however, allows for resilience. It teaches us to bend without breaking, to remain grounded yet flexible. Strength through balance means knowing when to press forward and when to pivot, when to fight and when to yield. This adaptability is not a sign of weakness, but of profound inner strength, rooted in the confidence to navigate change without losing one's core values. Another essential aspect of balance is the interplay between effort and rest. In a culture that often glorifies constant productivity, it is easy to equate strength with unceasing work. Yet, even the strongest structures require maintenance, and the human mind and body are no different. Rest is not a luxury, but a necessity, a time to recharge and reflect, allowing for greater clarity and effectiveness when action is required. Strength through balance acknowledges that rest enhances performance, and that true resilience comes from cycles of exertion and renewal. Balance also extends to relationships and responsibilities. Strength is not about carrying the weight of the world alone, but about recognizing the importance of interdependence. It is about finding equilibrium between giving and receiving, leading and following, supporting others, and allowing yourself to be supported. This mutual exchange fosters deeper connections and creates a foundation of shared strength that is far more enduring than isolated effort. Strength through balance is a mindset, a way of approaching life with intention and awareness. It is about finding harmony within oneself and with the world, embracing both the light and the shadows, the highs and the lows. It is the recognition that true strength is not found in extremes, but in the steady, centered pursuit of a life that honors both our aspirations and our well-being. By cultivating balance, we unlock a strength that is sustainable, enduring, and profoundly transformative. In conclusion, strength is not found in extremes, but in the harmony of balance. Knowing when to act, when to pause, and when to adapt. It lies in the courage to face challenges while understanding the necessity of rest, the wisdom to hold on to values yet remain flexible, and the humility to accept support while offering it to others. True strength through balance brings resilience, clarity, and authenticity to our lives, enabling us to navigate complexities with grace and purpose. Remember, balance is not a state you achieve once. It is a continuous process of aligning your efforts, relationships, and inner values. When you cultivate this equilibrium, you unlock a sustainable strength that empowers you to thrive in any circumstance. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this journey with me. May you walk forward with courage, resilience, and a commitment to living a balanced and meaningful life.